Hey guys, welcome to our first episode of 2025. This year holds a lot of opportunities for us to grow. There's a lot of potential. I believe that in this year, we can take full ownership of our lives, and therefore I'm welcoming you to our first episode that will be looking into excuses and how to eliminate excuses. I'm dedicated to helping you take full ownership of your life, to embrace growth so that you can unlock your full potential. I believe that in each and every episode moving forward, we'll be coming up with practical strategies, applicable steps that you can be able to eliminate excuses, so that you can be able to overcome every challenge, to go through each phase of this year so that we can be able to fulfill our lives. So let's begin with our first episode today. And when I was looking back in 2024, and I was looking back in the last couple of years, I was asking myself this one important question. What is the number one thing that is holding a lot of people back? What is the one thing that's preventing a lot of people to fulfill their lives? And I realized that there's one thing that if we are able to eliminate that thing, then our life will be more fulfilling, will be more productive, and will be able to gain the success that we want to gain. This is excuses. Now, I came up with a very good definition that I'd like to share with you for excuses. It says excuses are legitimate, that is valid, or illegitimate or invalid reasons we use to avoid stepping up and bring our best self to what we are called to do. It could be going to school, it could be starting a business, it could be at your professional place where you work. Excuses are those things that are holding you back and preventing you to stepping up and preventing you to bring your best self to whatever you're called to do. I'm going to share with you 3 areas that I believe if you eliminate excuses in this area, then you will see transformation in your life. You will see productivity go up in your life. You will see that your life will be more fulfilling. The first area we'll talk about is going to be personal growth. The second area will be relationship, and the third area is the area of leadership. Now, for me, in the last couple of years, the last 10 years, I've worked tirelessly to improving my personal life. That is personal growth, to develop and become better as a person. Now, I discovered a trap. When I finished school, when I finished my master's degree, I was working a very good job. And it was my birthday one time, and I was reflecting about the goals that I'd set to do in my 20s. And when I looked back at that point, I realized all the goals I'd achieved. And also I was in the corporate world, I was working. But I realized there's a big trap. A lot of people, once they finish their formal education, they do not embark on growth and personal development. Because in school, you kind of set on a track where you just grow automatically because of the environment. But once you come out of school, now that's where the trap is. A lot of people get stuck in jobs because they're not investing and developing themselves. And I don't want you to get stuck in 2025. I want you in 2025 to become a person who is able to grow and develop themselves. So when I started looking of ways to improve and develop myself, I discovered there were 3 important excuses that I had to give up. The first one that was holding me back, and I see holding a lot of people back, is this notion that this is who I have been and therefore I cannot change. Now, it's okay to be comfortable. It's okay to accept who you are, but you cannot remain who you are if you're going to develop and grow yourself. You have to give up this excuse of telling yourself that this is who I am. Basically, when you say that this is who you are and there's no way you can improve or get better, you're basically giving more power to your history than your present. You're saying whatever happened in the past is holding me captive. I'm captive of my background. And whatever I can do today does not have power to change who I've been. You're basically saying you cannot build the life that you want to build. You cannot build the future that you want to build. So this is number one excuse that's holding a lot of people back. Keep telling yourself, this is who I am. This is who I've always been. That's number one excuse that's holding a lot of people back. Preventing a lot of people from working on their goals and fulfilling their purpose. The second excuse that I discovered that I had to overcome immediately when I started going into my personal growth was I do not have enough resources. Now, this is a legitimate excuse. It's a valid excuse. You do not have enough money to go to a conference. You do not have enough money to invest on a course or to go back to school. It's a legitimate excuse, but do not allow that to hold you back. So this is how, for me, I think you can be able to overcome this excuse. Number one, you can start asking yourself, what is one thing that is within my power or within my circle of influence that I can do? What is the one thing I can do? I can just go to register for class. I do not have enough money to pay for that class, but number one, I can go to that school. I found a lot of people who they decide to take the first step, a lot of doors open up. The second thing you can always ask yourself is this: where can I get the resources? Instead of keep telling yourself, I do not have resources, ask yourself, where can I get the resources just to get going? And when you overcome that excuse, then you'll find that there's enough resources to go the next and the several steps moving forward. Another excuse that was holding me back and I had to overcome, and I've seen holding a lot of people back, is the excuse, I'm too old or it's too late for me. How many times do you tell yourself it's too late for you to go back to school, to start a business, to maybe start a certain hobby, maybe it's playing guitar or keyboard, whatever it is? You tell yourself it's too late, maybe because you have children, maybe because you're at home. Yeah, you say it's too late for me. No, it's never too late for you. You can always pick where you stopped. You can always start new skills. You can always develop yourself. You can always become better. So as long as you're alive, never ever tell yourself it's too late. Now, for me, when I gave up these three excuses, these excuses are, this is how I've been, I don't have enough resources, or it's too late. When I gave up those excuses and many others, this is what I discovered. I discovered, number one, that my self-awareness became greater. I became more aware of myself. I became more aware of my limiting belief. I became more aware of the areas that I need to improve. I became more aware of what was holding me back. I discovered that there's areas I need to improve, there's areas I can improve, there's areas I can do something about in my life. I discovered that I can gain new skills. So when you give up excuses in your personal growth, you will find there's always room for you to improve. There's always, you have resources. Instead of your background holding you back, you'll be telling yourself, my background actually is an asset that will help me to, from my experience, to spring forth. So your background is not a prison, but it's a springboard that will push you forward into the future and build the life that you want. The second thing that I discovered, and this is very important, I discovered that the possibilities that, I discovered that the things that were impossible to me, now they are becoming more possible. I realized the new possibility in my life. I realized that whatever was impossible now was within reach, because now I saw it as impossible at one time because I was not growing. But the moment I started growing, the moment I started working towards my personal growth, the more I see these realizations coming to true. Now, one area for me is in the area of writing. I never ever would have imagined for me to write a book and finish a book. It was almost impossible. But the moment I started giving myself in personal growth, developing myself, I started realizing, hey, I can write a book. I can write another one. I can write another one. Right now, I'm in my third book because of personal growth. So give up excuses in the area of personal growth. Ask yourself, how can I improve? Ask yourself, how can I become better? Because that's how you develop and become better, and therefore you have whatever it takes to achieve those goals. All right? Now, the second area where I have seen, if you give up excuses in this area, then your life will be transformed, is in the area of relationships. A lot of people tell themselves, I do not trust people. Have you ever told yourself like that? Have you ever told yourself that you do not trust people? Definitely, I know you have, because I have done that before. You know, it's good to be careful with people. You don't want to get people to take advantage of you. But at the end of the day, if you now start developing trust with people, people will trust you back and people will be more trustworthy. It's impossible for you to do great things if you cannot trust people. If you are a leader, if you are a business person, you have to trust people to put them in positions where they can help you to move forward. So don't use this excuse, because a lot of people use this, I don't want to trust people. Another excuse that people use is this: I am too busy. I'm too busy, I don't have time to invest in a relationship. Right? We tell ourselves like that because maybe it's true you're busy, because maybe you go to work, you have children, but at the end of the day, if you want to have meaningful relationships, if you want your relationship to be of value, then you must find time to invest in them. Another excuse that was holding me back that I had to overcome was, I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of failing people. You know, I remember at one point I made a conscious decision. I'm going to be that person who I'm going to be dependable. But it was out of fear of failing people that I made that decision. I told me, hey, if I say something, you're going to count on me, I'm going to be there for you. And that's how I started developing a relationship. When you give up excuses in areas of relationships, you'll find that you will start building meaningful connections with people. You will start finding that your relationship will be deepened, and you'll find that your relationship will be of value to other people. Now, for me, when I gave up excuses in the area of relationships, I discovered something, that now, instead of me waiting to be added value to me by other people, I started becoming that person who is always looking for ways to add value to other people. I found that I'm becoming a person of value who add value to other people. I became a giver. Instead of always asking and taking from people, I became a plus in people's life. I asked myself, how can I add value to so and so? How can I become a person of value to this person that I work with? And I found that with this, it led me to another discovery that now, instead of me repelling people, people started coming towards me, right? And this is very important because what you'll find, the more you become attractive to people, the more you're also attracting possibilities, you're attracting opportunities. Because with people brings opportunity. Of course, sometimes people bring something that are not pleasant. But what I found is this, most time than not, is that people, when they come to you, when you surround yourself with people who are of high value, that of a deepened relationship, of a meaningful connection, then you find that these people present to you ideas, they present to you opportunities. I remember my first job in corporate America. It was because of a friend that I'd invested time reaching out to him, checking on him, becoming now more intentional with him. And it's when he told me one time, oh, there's this opportunity in this company. Can you call this person and tell them you're interested? And I applied. I went through the whole interview process. But think about it. If that person could not have told me this, then I could not have got this position. I could never have been aware of that position. So when you give up excuses in the area of relationships, you basically increase your chances of being successful in this year in 2025. So find ways to add value to people. Find ways to become more resourceful to people. Find ways to add value to people, to become a plus and not a minus. And you'll see how your life will be transformed. The last but not least area is the area of leadership. Now, if you want to do great things in 2025, if you want to build a life that is beyond you as an individual, then you must invest. You must become a person who leads. Now, a lot of people give excuses when it comes to the area of leadership because either they do not understand leadership, they only think leadership is only responsibility. They only think leadership can only come when I have a position. But the truth is this, leadership is not a position. Leadership is influence. If you have influence in your home, if you have influence with your peers, that means you're a leader. And therefore, you do not need to give yourself excuses. Some of the excuses for me that was holding me back in the area of leadership, I kept telling myself, I am not a natural leader. I'm not a born leader. You know, have you ever asked yourself, are leaders born? Have you ever met a born leader? No, all leaders are born. So even you can develop yourself. Not being a natural leader does not mean you cannot be a great leader. You can develop qualities of a leader. Qualities of a leader, becoming a person who listens to people, becoming a person who connects people, becoming a person who understands people, becoming a person who adds values to people. That's how you become a leader. Ask yourself, what quality do I have? Do I have the ability to direct people? Do I have the ability to lead people, to guide people? Those are the skills that you need to ask yourself, what can I do to become a better leader? Instead of giving yourself excuse, I'm not a born leader, a natural leader. I'm an introvert. A lot of people say, I'm an introvert. This is my nature. That is not true. Actually, some of the greatest leaders were introverts, okay? Some of the greatest leaders were introverts. Another excuse that a lot of people use in this area of leadership, a lot of people say, I do not want responsibilities. I've seen people who are highly educated, they have high advanced degrees, but because they're afraid of taking leadership positions or taking leadership in their field, they are left behind because they feel like, I don't want more responsibility. But you forget, with the leadership, it means that you have more people around you that can be able to work with you and for you to achieve more. Another excuse that was holding me back that I had to overcome was that leadership is position. Because I was young, I kept telling myself, hey, I'm not a leader. I don't need to do anything about it. But the truth is this, whether you have position or you don't have position, you can become a leader because leadership is influence. And it's all about the qualities, not the position, the qualities of leadership that counts, not the position. There's a lot of people in positions of leadership, but they are really, really poor leaders who are not worthy of following. But if you, as an individual, decide, I want to become a better leader, whether you have position, just start focusing on the qualities of a leader, become a better listener. Then you'll see that in 2025, you'll become a great leader. You will be able to find that your influence will expand. Now, for me, when I gave up excuses in the area of leadership, this is what I discovered. Number one, I discovered that I had the potential or the ability to harness the power of teamwork. Now, instead of me working as an individual on a silo, I now started realizing, you know what, I can work with people. I became a person who can collaborate easily with other people. This definitely increased my productivity. So if you decide, I want to become a leader. Work on those qualities. You will find that now you'll be able to become a person who is a team player, ability to collaborate with others, and your productivity will go up. And then the other thing that happened to me was this. I gained more respect with my peers at work, at my church, at home. Now I realize because I'm adding value to other people's, because I have these qualities of leaders, now people come to you. People respect you more. When you speak, they listen, because now you've proven with the qualities that you are working on without the position. And now, last but not least, I also discovered something very important that are connected to that. I became more resourceful. Now, I knew who to go to. I knew if somebody is going through something, where to direct them. Actually, I have a friend of mine. Whenever I need something, I always reach out to them because I know they have a big network. When you're a leader, you develop yourself, you develop people around you. That by nature, naturally, now your network start becoming bigger. Now you become more resourceful. Now you can be able to, somebody come with this problem, it doesn't have to be the same problem all the time. Someone come with problem A, you know where to send them. Somebody come with problem B, you know where to send them. You become more resourceful when you give up excuses in the area of developing yourself as a leader. Now, let's summarize what we talked about. We talked about giving up excuses. And excuses could be reasons that are legitimate or illegitimate, valid or invalid, that we use to prevent ourselves to step up, to bring our best self in whatever things we're supposed to be doing. When we give up excuses such as I'm too old, I'm afraid, I'm busy, when you give up excuses in the area of personal growth, what happens, we become more self-aware of ourselves. We discover areas that we need to improve. We discover skills that we need to attain. We start realizing that the possibilities, whatever things were impossible, we now start seeing them as possible because we have now grown. Whatever was impossible here, now because we have grown, we become more successful in attaining those whatever things were impossible. So basically what happens is this. A lot of people, they set a goal. I want to start a business. They're here, right? They want to start a business here. But the business, for them to run the business, they need to be here. So what happens, this gap here is only reduced when you give up excuses in the area of personal growth. And then we also covered the area of relationship. Relationship increases opportunities in our life. It expands our ideas because now when we surround ourselves with people who have high value, we have deep and meaningful relationship, we expand our possibilities and ideas flow into our lives. And then last but not least, we covered the area of leadership, where we talked about that we should never give the excuses that we are not natural born leaders, that we don't have position, that we don't want responsibility. Those should not be the excuse for us not to develop our leadership qualities. When we develop our leadership qualities, we become people who have more productivity because now we are able to work with other people, and then we gain more respect with our peers, and last but not least, we become more resourceful. So the next episode, we're going to look at how do we break limiting beliefs and what are they? How are they holding us back? That's one thing I'd like us to talk about in the next episode. So if you have not subscribed, please do so that we can be able to grow together in 2025. Take full ownership of our life, embrace growth so that we can be able to unlock potential. Be blessed.